nervous system states happen because the body is interacting with its environment, right? So that's a lot. That's a lot just thinking about that. Let's go back to that first practice that we did, and I just want to see if you notice if it's more impactful, and then I'm going to show you one more. So kind of just come back to the body here, feel your feet on the ground, maybe just do a tiny bit of tapping. Maybe do the curved finger one. See if you like one more than the other. Let's try this. This is kind of like just using the hands. It can be fast, it can be slow. All right. Okay, so before we get into any more meat of it, two things. One, I want you to really take care of yourself and where you are today. So if it's better for you to be camera off, go ahead. I'll miss your face. And y'all are doing big work every day. So whatever feels best for you, do that. You can turn your camera on or off. It's whatever. Just please do what feels good to your body. Okay, number two. When I was prepping for today, I was on the fence about how to share information, and I chose not to. We might bring in a couple of slides, but I chose not to because to have a slide dominant, like a slide forward presentation, because I would lose the ability to kind of use my nervous system to communicate with you, right? And so I thought, I have to sort of practice what I preach here and how much our bodies matter. And the ability for y'all to engage with this content will be so much higher if I'm here in the flesh with my face, with my voice. Okay. The other really cool thing about the vagus is that the small little branches that are in our face have everything to do with what's called the social engagement system. So when you have someone who's not making eye contact with you, it's because their autonomic nervous system is like, right? There's this branch. If we're gonna have a flow chart, okay, there's this branch of like connection mode, protection mode. So connection mode is like, again, the baby, but connection mode can also be like, I'm playing some basketball, right? So connection mode is like, there's enough safety that I am here for it. My body is choosing connection. Okay, so connection doesn't always have to be a nursing baby, right? It is rest, but it's also being with other people in a way that is maybe a little bit higher heart rate. So play is part of connection, right? And I really want to talk about bringing play into the classroom. And not that I can tell you exactly how to do it because I'm not a teacher, but you guys, you're your own magicians, right? So I can just talk about the fundamentals of play and why play is a neural exercise and why it matters. And we can, maybe brainstorm some ways of how you already bring play in your classroom or how you want to do it going forward. But that is still part of connection. So we have connection mode and we have protection mode. So when a body is in protection mode, it has lost its social connection. Okay. It's like that switch is actually turned off. It's not there. And so it can, not always, but it can look like somebody who's not making eye contact because the nerve endings that control all of those muscles here are like, they're not engaged. It's that there is an operating system that the body has, and it is not set to like, we want to look and talk to you, right? You can tell, when your kids are like that, right? Now, of course, there's kids who, for neurodivergent reasons or whatever, are totally connected and are not making a lot of eye contact, right? That's that, or maybe they just look up here and there. So there is a lot of individual difference, right? That's what we talked about at the beginning with the tapping, is like we have these very unique, highly intelligent systems. I mean, our bodies are like race cars, right? They are capable of so much. And so the trick is to understand how they work and then to understand a little bit of what's happening for other people so that we can move from a place of, okay, I know that a body's in connection mode, or I know a body is in protection mode. Now, the second part of what I wanted to say was, okay, please, cameras on or off, that's up to you. Take care of yourself. The second thing is, yes, I'm going to make sure we have enough time for questions at the end, but also I want you guys to pop up with questions wherever you have them, because I know that, at least for me, I don't like waiting forever to ask my questions. And it helps with engagement because we're learning together, but this is that we're playing together too. So Amanda will help me with the chat too. So if you have something, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat, and we can have questions at any time. So, right, we understand that our bodies are influenced by our surroundings. Okay. And that influences how our brain works, how our body works, and we don't choose it, right? The startle response. We didn't choose the startle response. So this brings us into neuroception. Okay, so neuroception is a term coined by Dr. Stephen Porges. He is the creator of the polyvagal theory. So he is a researcher. All of his initial research was on heart rate variability and babies and this sort of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And then he discovered, oh, wow, we actually know more about that. It's not just sympathetic is bad and parasympathetic is good. It was like, oh, we have this whole social engagement system aspect of our vagus nerve. So that he published Polyvagal Theory in the mid 90s. Okay. So when we think about how this matters, we understand that the way that our body is working is influencing our kids. Okay. So neuroception, this what we were talking about before, in that your body is sensing, the way that he defined it is that it is detection without awareness. So you can also think of your spidey sense, right? If you walk into somewhere, you're already kind of like, oh yeah, totally want to be here, right? Or maybe you walk into a space and there's an area that kind of calls you to it, or a person, or a lighting, or a voice, or a sound, right? There's so many things that influence that spidey sense when you get into a new environment. And then your body is going to respond. Now, we have a lot of agency and sovereignty as adults, and I love to see any opportunity to share some sovereignty with children, right? I mean, I like the definition of sovereignty is that they have the ability to govern themselves, right? Because even little kids can. I mean, and not, obviously, it's developmentally appropriate. But I really like the belief inside of that they are sovereign beings. Okay. So when we think that all their nervous systems are so smart, right? And they're always going to be understanding what's happening for us and vice versa. So when our kids come into a physical classroom or a virtual classroom, their bodies are kind of asking, am I safe? Am I not safe? And then their bodies are responding.